This is Recently Rhonda, and this story is The Sticky. And the three characters that are in this story, I do need to give you guys a little bit of background because there's a lot of background with these girls prior to this particular story that I'm going to get into. So the first girl that I want to introduce you to is Remy. Her and I have been friends for pretty much ever. She's my first girlfriend, which is very weird. But she met when I was about 5 or 6 because I used to live across the street from this like park that had like swing sets and whatever, like obviously a pretty decent park. So I was out swinging on the swings one day because it's literally right across the street from my house, and my parents had said, you know, Rhonda, like you have to just stay in the park. They always used to call me from the window, like that's how we used to do it when we were kids. Like we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have pagers or whatever. We had your parents calling you through the window. So Remy comes over, and I'd never seen a little girl like in my park by herself before. So she comes over, and I'm swinging on the swings, and she sits next to the swing next to me and starts like, you know, pumping, like getting her momentum going. And I'm like just sitting there, I'm swinging on the swings, I'm having a good time, whatever. And all of a sudden, Remy looks at me and she's like, "Hey, I'm Remy. You want to come over to my house and play Barbies?" I'm not a Barbie girl. I've never, I was such a tomboy when I was a kid. Like I was into like running around, scraping up my knees and every other body part, climbing trees and just doing boy things because my best friend that lived next door was a boy, and we just did boy things forever. So I was just like, no, I don't want to play Barbies. And I was like, well, you know, I'm not going to play Barbies with you, but do you want me to make you, like, boysenberry soup? Like, this was my specialty as a kid. It was basically, like, boysenberries off of a bush, dirt, water, just a bunch of gross shit mashed in with, like, a stick in a bowl or something. And she's like, yeah, I'll eat your boysenberry soup, but only if you come, like, just see my Barbies. And I'm like, all right, fine, you win, because I had never expected somebody to come back with, yeah, I'll do that, but you have to do this first. So I was like, all right, go over to her house, which was right around the corner from my house. Like, my house was here, right on the corner, and she was all the way around the corner, like the second or third house in. So I go over to her house, look at all her Barbies, and I was like, all right, I'm done with these Barbies. So then, she's like, all right, well, you got to come see my tea set outside, like the little, you know, kitchen sets or whatever. And I'm like, all right, fine. Her and I, our yard was connected, kind of kitty corner, but you could only get in through like a space probably about like 2 feet wide, and you could hop the fence or whatever. So I must have been over her house for a long time. So when we go outside and see her little tea party set, I hear my dad screaming out the window for me to like come in, and I'm like, oh shit. He sounds a lot more mad than he usually is when he calls my name, so he must have called it like hundreds of times. So I'm like, all right, Remy, I gotta go, whatever. So I hop the fence over in my yard and then like run up the stairs. Needless to say, I got the ass whooping of my life that day because they didn't know where I was, and I was disappeared for like 5 hours. And I didn't realize this. So that's how I know Remy, and her and I just kind of grew up together. We went, everyone in my town goes to the same school and stuff like that. So she happened to go to my school, and we just kind of always hung out because she was always right around the corner. The second person in my story, I'm going to call her Jessica, simply for the fact because when we were kids, I think she looks just like Jessica Simpson, like when she came out with that one song, like her first song or whatever. So I'm going to call her Jessica. Her and I had met when I was in 5th grade because her and I had the same teacher. So instantly, Jessica and I like hit it off. We were like super cool and stuff like that. And she lived on the other side of the Arsenal. Now, the Arsenal is a place where I'm from, and it holds like all the military people and stuff like that. It's basically a town within a town. The Arsenal where I'm from actually produces like 95% of the ammo for like all of our troops and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool, but it's huge. So her and I always used to like walk across the arsenal and like meet each other halfway and either go to her house or my house or whatever. And like we just always hit it off. We were always super cool, like love her to death. She's awesome. So that's Jessica. And then our last friend is Shannon. Shannon, I'm not really sure how she came into play. I think she was friends with Remy. So it was Jessica and I were always super good friends. Remy and Shannon were like super good friends or whatever, just because they had gone to class together, and we all kind of grew up together. Well, when we hit junior high, we kind of merged our two groups, and we all started hanging out. So we were just crazy girls. We always did kind of whatever we wanted. The four of us were like, thought we were hot shit, so we kind of just did whatever the fuck we wanted to do. And with the exception of Shannon, all of our parents were kind of irresponsible and never home and let us do whatever the fuck we wanted, which is a terrible thing to let teenage girls do. So this story is going to be a continuation onto basically just an average kind of debacle between all four of us. There's definitely more stories. There's going to be more stories, but this one was pretty hilarious, and I was reminded about it by Jessica when I posted my blog on Facebook, and she's like, oh my God, do you remember this time? You definitely have to put it up because it was really funny. So that's what I'm doing. I hope you guys enjoy.